I'll be speaking to you about mass hysteria. Before I go into any more detail about the subject, let's take a look at a radio broadcast that caused mass hysteria across the US. So, at first, the reporter announces, "Wait, something is happening. A humped shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against the mirror. What's that? There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror, and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Good Lord, they're turning into flame." At this point, screaming begins in the background. Now the whole field's caught on fire, the woods, the barns, the gas tanks of the automobiles. It's spreading everywhere. It's coming this way, about 20 yards to my right. And then radio silence. The announcer comes in. "Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast from Grover's Mill." So what I just read to you is from the 1938 broadcast of War of the Worlds. As you can see from this newspaper clipping, it caused panic. Although Orson Welles announced 3 times in the broadcast that it was fictional, it was reported through the book Terror in the Air, Horror Radio in America, that 1.7 million listeners believed it to be true that aliens were attacking the Earth. Some even reported that they heard the lightning striking outside. They smelled the poison gas that was described in this broadcast. Similar cases of mass hysteria have happened all through our history. To help you understand exactly what mass hysteria is, I will be first informing you about its history, and second, I will be first informing you about its traits, and second, about its history. So, let's begin, and let's talk a little bit about the characteristics of mass hysteria. According to Funk and Wagnall's New World Encyclopedia, mass hysteria is the phenomenon in which a large group of people exhibit the same symptoms with no organic cause. Now, there are similar circumstances to all cases of mass hysteria, such as the case in which it happens, how the case spreads, and who it affects first. The setting is very important. According to PhD Robert Bartholomew and Simon Wesley, in their article called "The Protean Nature of Mass Psychogenic Illness," it will typically affect a semi-segregated group under the pressure of extreme stress. Secondly, it will spread through vision and your line of sight, and through the verbal cues you've been given that somebody else has experienced as symptoms. And third, it will typically affect first the higher class citizens and move down through the age ranks, mostly affecting women. So, the symptoms of this are very numerous. What they have in common is that they're never based on an organic cause. It's never because there's pollution. No. It's non-organic. It's never life-endangering, and it always appears quickly and disappears quickly. On this chart here, you will see that the most common symptoms are headache, dizziness, and nausea, according to Jones Timothy's article, Mass Psychogenic Illness, Role of the Individual Physician in the American Family Physician Journal. So, now that you know all about the circumstances under which mass hysteria occurs and the symptoms that it displays, let's begin to talk about the history that is involved with mass hysteria. The history is truly vast, but today I'll be focusing on just 2 events. One of the most memorable cases is called the Dancing Plague, and one recent event. The Dancing Plague, it was a case where people exhibited frantic dancing. They were unable to stop dancing. In some cases, they died because they danced so long. According to the dancing play, A Public Conundrum, the public health journal. Now, this spread by line of sight. If you were to see somebody dancing uncontrollably, you began dancing uncontrollably. And at some times, there was as many as 11,000 people dancing. The social costs were innumerable. Some families were put into financial ruin because they were searching for cures for their loved ones. In Madagascar, there was a revolt because of this. Now, although there are many documented cases of this dancing plague, we currently have no idea what caused it. At the time, they suspected tarantula bites, demonic possession. Modern-day scientists think something different. Perhaps built-up stress, poisoning. There are other modern-day cases that we've actually observed in our lifetime. I'm not sure if you remember this, but the anthrax letters, those were very big a couple of years ago. Marianne Zietzi-Mazak tells us in her article, Infected Letters Go Far Beyond Germs, that once 16 students and a teacher smelled paint fumes in their classroom, they were immediately sent to the emergency room complaining of nausea and dizziness out of fear of anthrax. Another case happened a week later over in Maryland. 35 people in a subway were taken to the hospital complaining of sore throats and headaches because a man sprayed a little glass cleaner. As you can see, mass hysteria can affect anyone, anywhere, as long as the conditions are correct. Mass hysteria is something that is very prevalent in our society today. Imagine if you had been back there, 1938, when War of the Worlds was broadcasted into American living rooms. Imagine if you tuned in just a bit too late, and you didn't hear the announcement that it was fictional. Wouldn't you be scared? Mass hysteria is a very real phenomenon. And it's something that has happened all around us. It is deep in our roots, deep in the history. Now, as informed citizens, it is our job to recognize both the traits and the history of this problem.